Hi there, my name is Shanawaz and from the AllSafe team, and I'm going to talk about the Pharmaco's NIT CSF current state summary. So, as mentioned in the slide, the Pharmaco's Q2 cybersecurity maturity scorecards clearly states that out of the 5 domains of NIST, the identified domain for Pharmaco stands at the current maturity level as defined. The protect domain has a maturity level of repeatable. The detect domain and the recover domain both stands at the maturity level of initial, and the respond domain is actually non-existent for Pharmaco. I'm going to talk about Pharmaco shortcoming prior to the cyber attack. So prior to the ransomware attack, Pharmaco had some shortcomings within the cybersecurity program. These shortcomings can be more broadly categorized into two areas, namely insufficient cybersecurity measures and inadequate risk management. Talking about insufficient cybersecurity measures, although Pharmaco had a mature IT infrastructure and followed the NIST cybersecurity framework, its cybersecurity measures may be insufficient to guard against new attacks. Inadequate monitoring and detection capabilities, poor incident planning and response and execution. The second area where a lot of shortfalls were observed were Pharmaco had a limited understanding of cybersecurity risk and their potential impact on the organization. Insufficient investment in cybersecurity resources and infrastructure for mitigating cyber risk. Delay in testing of incident response plans to help Pharmaco minimize the impact of cyber attacks. Managerial oversight on cyber threat reports and statistics was also one of the key shortcomings. I'm now going to present a slide which says about the domain assessment for NIST cybersecurity framework. So as you can see, out of all the 5 domains, we've actually assessed and see where Pharmaco stands based on the best knowledge from the data provided to us. And these domains and controls are clearly marked as either non-compliant or partially compliant. So this is what the current state summary used to look like before the cyber attack which impacted Pharmaco. I'm going to now talk about the overall ransomware cyber attack, the analysis, the impact and containment, the recovery, as well as the root cause analysis for the cyber attack. So, ransomware attack had significant implications, including an inability for Pharmaco to process its mail or orders. Secondly, the analysis also highlights that the emails of the CEO and board vice chair and the deal team were exfiltrated for the period of 3 months, which may contain sensitive data. Thirdly, sensitive PHI data of 200,000 customers was stolen and posted on dark web. So these were the summary of the attack analysis. When we talk about the impact and containment, so the ransomware encrypted the customer database and was unable to recover from the files from the backups as where they were infected too. The legal and PR teams were working to deal with the regulatory fallout of PHI data theft on dark web. Pharmaco only managed to block certain IP addresses for allowing the malicious ransomware code responsible for this attack. The next slide, I'm going to talk about the recovery from the attack. So recovery from ransomware attack was next to impossible, as IT and security teams were unable to break the encryption of the ransomware code, for which hackers had demanded $25,000 to decrypt. Also, there was no assurance that Pharmaco would be getting the data back once the ransomware was paid to them. There was lack of assurance on that part. For root cause analysis, the CERT team of Pharmaco, which led the investigation, they found that there's a junior analyst which has sent an email consisting of 100 records of PHI data to another employee. The attack also resulted in operational financial losses due to ransomware demand and the cost of cybersecurity repairs. Finally, there was no conclusive root cause which was identified by pharmacocert team, and none of this information was published in the incident report shared by the pharmacocert team. Now I'm going to talk about the key findings of the ransomware cyber attack on Pharmaco. So the analysis highlights that there are four key findings which were responsible for the ransomware attack on Pharmaco infrastructure. First, the lack of communication between the deal team and the CISO, Paul Williams, was a significant issue. So, CISO was not aware of the deal team's existence, and this lack of knowledge led to a security breach. It is crucial to ensure that all the relevant security personnel are aware of this existence, and uh, the data and the security measures are placed to protect that information. Secondly, the lack of on action of the threat intelligence and oversight by the pharmaco management on the Q2 cyber brief resulted in no action on reassessing these risk of increasing phishing campaign posted for pharmaco and the executive leadership team, which are also responsible for cyber ransomware attack. Thirdly, the non-existing and ad hoc containment efforts once the attack was identified, poor incident detection, and response efforts of pharmaco security team contributed to the overall mishandling of the ransomware response and recovery efforts. So the this actually resulted in the larger PHI data theft, and inadequate containment and corrective actions for the company. Finally, the delay in prioritizing the planned events exercises for Q3 and Q4, citing the risk that they pose in light of the ongoing phishing campaigns against the pharmaceutical companies and the executive member of the companies, helped attackers get an opportunity to infect pharmacos email accounts and IP based assets. The case summary provides us a clear timeline on how things unfolded from the day the Pharmaco board meet. That they wanted to discuss the proposed merger and the strategy following it. Day one, the ransomware attack happens, and the Pharmaco board learns that its customer database and backups have been encrypted, and they are unable to build and any process orders. Next comes the containment decisions. They know that the hackers had demanded 25,000 US dollars for decrypting all the encrypted systems. Pat Provost recommended the board to pay ransom because they were unable to contain the infection and identify the root cause as well. Same day, Pharmaco learns that the email accounts of the deal team CEO and vice chair gets compromised, and Paul Williams concludes that the actual murder deal remains undisclosed. And following this commitment, Pat Provost recommends the board to stay on course with the merger deal, despite the breach, as the risk was negligible. Uh, on day third, the pharmacocert investigation report comes up, and the team, after it delivered the initial report, confirmed that the hackers did not obtain any merger deal terms. There is only 100 anonymized clinical trial PHI records which were stolen. Once this information was disclosed by the report, the regulatory impact fallout planning was set into motion, and Pharmaco had to set aside $100,000 to deal with the cost of the PHI data breach. On day four, there were certain new disclosures that the CERT team presented to Pharmaco. They noticed that there were stability issues on a number of Pharmaco websites. Later on, they also came to know that 200,000 of Pharmaco's PHI records were on sale on dark web. So overall, the news of the data theft gets leaked and become public, and Pharmaco had to set aside $75 million to deal with the fallout of this data leak. Pharmaco share price immediately takes a hit of 30% after the news went public, and Pharmaco board decides to evaluate the merger deal. That's it. Next, my colleague Brendan will be talking about the cybersecurity recommendations for Pharmacoire post the merger deal. Yeah, thank you.